So good morning, everyone. Let me share my screen here.
Mute us.
Okay. So good morning, everyone. My name is Justin Avini. I'm Global Director with Optavia. And we have on today, Ashley, you going to say hi?
Oh, sorry. I thought you were going to say it. I was like, wait a second. Hi, guys. I'm Ashley Ebinger, Executive Director. And I caught a cold this week, so my voice does sound a little raspy. I'm so sorry.
I think everybody and their mother has a cold this week.
I know. I tried to escape it the best I could, but it's here. So getting over it, though.
No worries. So we're going to talk about simple strategies of creating candidates lists and getting the word out. Guys, just to be honest, this is probably the most important actions you guys can do. I think the biggest thing with this is making sure that we're consistent with these actions. Facebook's fun. We're going to talk a little bit about that too in here as well. But I think really making that contact list and getting into action daily of who we can call is probably the most efficient way to get things going. So go ahead, Ashley.
Okay, so the simple strategy to get this done is going to be start today if you haven't already. Get into action and stay in action. It doesn't matter that it's not Monday, if it's not the first of the month. Just jump in and let's get it done. Give yourself a deadline and a timeline. I think this was really important for me because you're giving yourself, just putting that timeline, you're more likely to get it done than if you don't. Post consistently on Facebook about your life and your health. Always have a list of 5 to 10 people who are on your heart, who you think could be blessed by Optavia right now. And then always have a running list of 100 people who we can get the word out to and start conversations with.
So we're going to talk about actually creating a list, guys. So that doesn't mean like we have a phone list, we have it in our phone. Something that I used to do was say, oh yeah, I have those people in my head. But honestly, putting it down on paper, making it out and in front of you daily makes it very simple not to forget, which is one of the hugest things we can do because people will fall through the cracks. And we also want to make sure that we're consistently picking out those 5 to 10 people a day and being really clear. The key thing with this thing is being really clear on what we want. Starting with those closest to you, friends and family. We always start out the conversation as starting off as a new coach. God forbid you were in the hospital. Who are those close people that would be with you during that time? Expand your groups and circles, right? So get out a little bit more. Really start to look into areas that are fun for you. You always hear me talk about creating those different groups or going to those different groups that can be fun. When I mean creating those groups, I mean if there's things to do, like I'll give you an example. I have a group that's all dirt bikers in a messenger on Facebook. And I've just actually randomly picked those guys throughout different connections days and going to different things. And I've created groups. So you don't have to necessarily go to groups either. You can create groups. Don't get too wild and out with it because you don't want to take up too much time. But you can make things fun and exciting. So going through your contacts list is very important. So create your list. Do not judge anybody, guys. A lot of times, we don't want to make just our fluffies list. I know for me personally, and it's exciting for me to share this, and you'll always hear me say this because I came into this strictly for the business. I was very fortunate that Jamil didn't look at me and say, wow, he doesn't need to lose weight. Why would I even bother talking to him? So this is really important, guys, as you're making your list. They can be a doorway. Maybe they're not necessarily the person that you need, but they may know people. That's super important to understand. Don't exclude anyone. I kind of just shared that right now, right? So those are key things that are really going to help you.
Yeah, and if you run out of names, so you won't, because if we are constantly expanding, constantly having connections and things, we should not be running out of names. So expand your circle of friends, kind of like what Justin talked about. If you guys have different groups, different hobbies you like to do, start pulling those into your life. And then add 10 to 20 new friends on Facebook per week. This is a great strategy because Facebook is so easy to keep opening up that circle a little bit bigger. You know, go to friends who are not already within Optivia and start picking out a few of their friends who have mutual friends. This is a great way to kind of start those conversations and bring in more people to your circle to start seeing your stuff. And get out of your house. This was a huge one for me, you guys. Be a yes man. Every time there's a birthday party, barbecue, anything like that, say yes. I know sometimes we don't want to go to yet another toddler birthday party, but these are really great because there's so many people, so many parents, so many moms. So say yes, guys. All right, so now just take action and start your conversations.
Okay, guys, can you do me a huge favor? Can you mute yourselves, please, if you're not muted? I can't do that right now while I'm sharing my screen. So if you seek, you shall find, guys. This is really important. I'll give you a tip. You know, people know me as a little bit more blunt when it comes to conversations, but I really want you guys to focus on this. If you are looking for people to sign up, they will sign up. If you're feeling like people won't sign up, they won't sign up. So focus on making authentic conversations and getting out rather than getting clients or coaches. So that means really understanding. Guys, if you're on, can you please mute? I'm going to have to go to this.
So you're going to have to mute all of this.
Can't do that on this.
Except for me.
Sorry, guys. My screen doesn't allow me on this to do that way. Everybody's muted. Hopefully that works. Anyways, so starting authentic conversations rather than getting clients or coaches, it's really important to me. One of my favorite questions used to be is, how do you go up to a stranger and pop the question? Well, you don't. You start a genuine conversation with them, and it could be at the gym, it could be at the grocery store, it could be your checkout teller, it could be any kind of thing like that. You know, planting the seeds. We talk about planting the seeds. It's making those conversations kind of flow. So the thing with this is we really want to start looking for people that are excited and people that need to maybe use this, right? If we do that and we do what Ashley said and go to these groups and these different areas where we feel comfortable. You know, one of the things I made as a quick tip was, you know, when you go to, or when you become a health coach, all of a sudden you need to go to these weight loss groups, or you need to go to these fit groups, or you need to go, don't do that. Go to groups that are comfortable for you. Why? Because it's so much easier for you to start those genuine conversations if you're a hiker. Or for a great example, I use this all the time because it's me. I'm a dirt biker. I go on boating trips. So I'm in those kinds of groups. Why? Because it's a lot easier to start those kinds of conversations because I have something relatable to them. And then you don't have to have that weird awkwardness of how am I eventually going to say this, because it will just organically happen. So creating those conversations, planting those seeds. If you're not friends with them yet on social media, make sure you are, right? Find them and friend request them. If they're in your community, right? So church groups, maybe PTA, maybe you go to the park with your kids. I always try to do that. You know what's cool is when me and Jenny go, if I feel like, here's a great example of me using the roundabout way, if I feel like it's a little nervousness for me, I say, hey, you know, Jenny, you should friend her because we'd love to have Charlotte come play with your daughter or with your son, you know, next week. So there's ways to connect people that way. Looking for ways to bring up health. You know, it's not really hard to do that, but not directly asking these people. So it's really important to understand that, we're trying to figure out how to talk to that person directly. And if you look at the connections process, which we're going to get into in some of the verbiage, it's, hey, people you may know. So that's really important to understand. People that you may know, not hey, you, people that you may know. Ashley, is this you?
It's you. But
Okay,
yeah, I
perfect.
was like, yeah.
No worries. So making sure your friends on Facebook, go on their wall, like some of their stuff, right? Comment on one of their posts. Just remember, guys, the algorithm is always changing. So liking stuff doesn't necessarily put them in your news feed. Just a FYI, they may see what you're liking, but that doesn't get them in your news feed constantly. And if we're trying to talk to these people on a regular basis through that week, or really kind of connect with them, we want to make sure that we're commenting. Send them a private message. That's another thing. That's actually the new algorithm lately, is if you send them a message on Facebook, it brings their newsfeed back up in there. It's not only starting that genuine conversation with them, but it's also allowing them to see what your life is about. Remember, guys, people aren't buying the program. They're buying you and who you are. If they don't know who you are, there's no reason they're going to either reach out or feel comfortable when you do connect to say something to you. So it's really important to bring them into that. And then, like it says again, look for an opening to bring up health. One of my favorite conversations to do towards the end of the month is especially if I've had a conversation with somebody going for a little while, is, hey, you know what? I don't know if you knew this or not, but I'm actually I'm a health and wellness coach, and I actually had 3 spots just open up in in my um, my business. Do you know anybody by chance, or would you be interested in hearing about my program, and maybe somebody would come to mind? That's a great opener, especially if you've had that little bit of that conversation with somebody, and they're probably most likely been watching your feed. So what are they going to say? Yeah, I've been wondering about that, or no, not really. Why did you do that? Sorry, guys. Um, or no, not really. You know what I mean? But you can still move it forward. So really important to utilize actions that way.
And yes, it's that simple. And I wanted to add too, because sometimes we don't know what to send on the private messenger, and you've probably heard it before, but using the happy birthdays, you guys, if Facebook is telling you whose birthday it is, go through there and see, because sometimes I'm like, I don't really know this person that well. I really don't know what to private message them. A simple happy birthday. And because Facebook's algorithms, I've noticed in the past like 2 weeks, that everybody I'm saying happy birthday to, I'm now seeing in my feed, which means I'm now in theirs. So it gets really fun. So that's a great way to like just send a message to kind of get it going. So now what? All right, get the word out and make a connection. So this is kind of getting the word out outline and how we do this, because like Justin said, we don't always want the person that we are directly talking to. Sometimes these are people around them. Just last week, I had a guy, I was doing a spread the word, and then he was just like, you know what, I'm not really interested, but my mom is. Oh my gosh, great, let's get in a Facebook Messenger, let me meet your mom. So these are really cool ways to do that. So this one is on to you, Justin. Basic questions.
So basic questions are easy, guys. So here's the thing, is really starting out with just no-brainers. Can I send you some information about my program? One of the things I would suggest for you guys too is, if you're not really a reader, or you don't like scripts, Jamil has an amazing video that's been out for a while. It's in our 0 to 5 group. If you guys want to find it under client acquisition, it's him and Jen Paxman just making a connection and really going through these questions right here. And what I like to tell some of my coaches is look, if you don't like reading a script, just listen to what Jamil says 3 or 4 times, and after a while it'll flow. So it can be very simple if you're more of a visual person or a visual learner. Ask your coaches where that's at if you don't know where it's at, but it's in 0 to 5 under coach systems. And then I think it's like the 3rd file down, and then it's in client acquisition. So it's very simple to just do these things. Can I send you some information about what I do? While looking through that information, if anybody comes to mind, would it be appropriate? Would you mind forwarding it off to them, right? Can I touch base with you tomorrow or in a few days to ask questions, or to see if you have any questions. What's your email address, right? These are really the steps that are in that page right here. So that's also in there as well. If you guys don't have that, make sure you're asking your coach about it. I'm sure at this point you guys should have it because this is where we're at. But this is what we're saying, guys. This is the nuts and bolts of making these conversations happen, and these are the path that's going to make you move forward. So this is really crucial, guys. This is one of the most key success things that we need to do, and the reason is because it works. That's it. That's all it is because it works. So after making a connection, what do? I like to do it literally within an hour or two. I'm not the most tech savvy guy, but I finally figured out how to do it off my phone. So it's very easy to do once you hop off a phone with somebody, is to edit your thank you letter, which you should have set up. Hopefully if you do, if you don't, go to your mentor and ask them, man. Even if it's this far in, guys, don't feel like you can't ask them if you don't feel comfortable. I know there's some people out there like that. I wasn't the savviest guy. I bugged Jamil all the time because I would lose it, I'd get it back together. And I really share that with you guys because I've been doing this 5 years now. And I really want to make it a point of, like, these are things that are very simple to do, but maybe we get nervous. And if we don't have this set up, then we just don't decide to do it. But we'll just keep with the follow-up. So this is really important to do. Within 24 hours, not 48 hours, not 3 days later, we send out our thank you letter. We want to follow up within 48 hours. I usually set a pace on the phone with, hey, do you mind if I check back with you in a couple days? Right? The questions we just asked in the back group. Make sure you're posturing this. Some of us get timid or nervous, and I'm just, like I said, I'm being a little bit more open here. This is just me. But sometimes we get nervous about asking that. Well, I don't want to feel like I'm bugging them. Or they didn't seem too interested, so I'm not going to do that. It doesn't matter, guys. It really doesn't. That's why this is highlighted in yellow. If they showed interest, if they didn't show interest, it's very important to do that. Find them on Facebook if you're not friends already. We're really kind of focusing on that. That's been said quite a few times in some of these slides, right? Why? Because it's important. They're going to start to see who you are. They're going to start to know who you are. It's not about them seeing those before and after pictures. It's about them seeing a Joe Otto or an Ashley Evinger or a Don Donnelly or a Justin Avini, seeing who that person is, connecting with that person. So it's really important to make sure you guys get them on Facebook, because now they can start to see who you are. Add their email address to your connections group, right? Send a connection email out every 2 weeks. One of the coolest things is new global director Josh Bomba loves to say, do it on the 1st and on the 15th. Why? Because usually it's payday. And the thing with that is people are usually very happy on those days. And also, maybe that was the reason why they couldn't start, and so that's just a great time to do it. So the 1st and 15th is usually good for a lot of people, but really, you just do it every 2 weeks. It doesn't really matter as long as you're doing it. Some people aren't necessarily as Facebook savvy with this stuff, so emails is the way to connect with people. Continue to evolve the relationship. Have authentic conversations. Guys, when we say that, it's not a matter of really shortcutting the conversation to just get it to get it back to that. Sometimes a simple, hey, how you doing today? Well, the kids are sick. My husband's been working a lot of hours. Oh, okay, no problem. Or, some coaches send out like little short inspirational videos depending on what connection you guys have or what kind of you went through. Just a quick text in the morning. Hey, I was just thinking of you. Thought this would be cool for you. It doesn't need to be a directly, hey, so have you thought of anybody? Hey, are you ready to sign up? Authentic conversations, guys. So it doesn't need to be necessarily that right away. Let's get back to who's going to hop on program. Let's get back to, are you going to sign up? Are you going to sign up? Are you ready? Are you ready? That's not what we're saying. We're saying just stay connected with these people. Really see what their life is about. Step into their world. Dave Blanchard's always good at saying that stuff. Step into their world. Ashley, is this you?
This one's all you, bud.
Dude, I'm getting so excited. I get to do all these. This is cool.
I know. I was like, we adjusted all the good slides.
That's awesome. Okay, follow the contacts list, guys. Like we said, be strategic with your day-to-day stuff, right? Write your list down, have it in front of you. Pick out that 5 to 10 people a day that you're gonna connect with, and have that in front of you. Have your system set up for that way. Um, uh, do it in the next 7 days. These are things that we want to really be structured with. Ashley said at the beginning, put a timeline to this stuff, guys. What are your actions? When we say lead from the future, act in the now, that means set a date. When do you want to be where? What do you want to have? How many people do you want to help? Financially, what is that looking like for you? And really put that together. So do this in the next 7 days. Times 15 connections is 105 people you can talk to, right? That's awesome. How simple is that? In that 105 people, they say on average, for every 10 people you talk to, one is going to show interest or pretty much sign up. So that could be potentially 10 clients in the next 7 days. How cool would that be? How simple is that? It's been proven to be done. That's why we say, doing these connections is key, because there is a certain amount of people that are going to be ready. We love the word credit card thrower, but it's really just somebody that's ready to go, somebody that's been tired. Those are the reasons why these connections are so important. Repeat every month or every week if you want to do that. You know what I mean? So if you aren't liking the immediate results, repeat the process or ask for help ASAP. This is really important, guys. Connect with your mentors. I don't know if you guys heard up on the rank up call, but everybody says they're talking to their mentors, or I like to use the word bugging. I know I used to bug the crap out of Jamil every day, but that's because I wanted more. So make sure you're asking for help. If these numbers aren't working for you, then we got to figure that out as soon as possible.
Don't be afraid, guys. I love it as a mentor, but for whatever reason, I also feel that way sometimes. I'm bugging somebody, but I have to remember that we love seeing those like book me's come in. We love to help. So it goes both ways.
Absolutely.
All right. So additional thoughts. So every conversation is a seed, whether or not it's health related. You are also caring about that person's life, and getting to know more about them is going to be really key. So every conversation is a seed. Consistency is key. I had to learn this one probably a little harder, but consistency really is key, guys. So please take big notes on that one. A no versus not yet. So managing your disappointments and still following up is going to be a tough one too. We always know that no is not always a no. It's just a not yet. Everybody's missing some part of their life in some way or another usually, so we know that Optavia can help them, but maybe just not right now. So always keep them in your connections and layer them. Being friends on Facebook, another layering tool. They're going to get to see more and more of you that way. And this is really going to help, because you're going to see these people come around 6 months later, a year later. So work at discovering their why. Work at discovering why they want to move forward in their health. This is huge, because if we don't discover their why, we have nothing to come back to when they have their hard days, which just about everybody tends to have on this journey as well. And then work with your business coach. So again, going back to your mentors, I think when I was on my stretch coming from senior coach to ED, I think I was on the call with my mentor just about every week without even knowing that I was doing that, you guys. So if you guys need like a weekly refocus, don't be afraid to do that when you're in your growth, because looking back, that's what I had. And that really helped me, like just turn the refocus. So take action. It only works if you do it. All right, so the tracking documents, the contact list. We should all have this contact list printed out, and probably quite a few pages of it. So this is going to be found in Simple Systems and probably multiple other places by now, but make sure if you don't have this list that we do print off quite a few copies of this and we keep this list going.
Structural coaching, guys. This is one of my favorites. You all ready for this? So, the systems to success, or setting them up for success, sorry. Well, it's pretty much the systems to success. So, did you secure a strong why? Do you have a health assessment on them? That was something at the very beginning that I fought very much. Uh, Structure wasn't my thing, but having a health assessment on somebody, really filling that out and understanding their why is super important. If we kind of walk through that and then do a lot of telling and tell them how this program is going to help them and tell them how they're going to feel and tell them why this is the best program for them, instead of finding out their why and asking them, wow, how long has that been for you? What does that look like? Right? Did you explain what coaching will look like for them during the Explorer call? I always do that. Hey, there's a great opportunity. In the next few weeks, things are going to start to happen. People are going to start to notice, right? Those are things that are really important to do, guys. The posturing is super key. Nobody's going to hate you. Nobody's going to get upset. This is just part of our program. It's like, I love the idea of being in a doctor's office. If it is just, it is. It's our business. And this is just part of what's allowed. Then it shouldn't be really that timid of a thing to say when you're starting out. So I always do that at the very beginning. People are going to start to notice, friends and family, there's a great opportunity here. Health is not just what this program is about. We have a 3-part component with this program: healthy body, healthy mind, healthy finances. Maybe some people even that could benefit from that, or maybe this is something that would be good for you as well. So as people start to notice, there's an opportunity there, when we can talk about that a little bit later on, whether you're going to be referring some of your friends and family to me, or maybe you want to support them yourself and kind of solidify your own journey on keeping you on track a little bit better. So did you have them invite a friend? This is awesome. Rosie Brazerta was really amazing at this. She'd bring on a client and always have a partner with them somehow, somewhere. This is really cool, guys. She runs a high frontline volume because that was one of the craziest things she used to do, was always invite somebody. Hey, who's a girlfriend? Who's a buddy? Who do you always go on these weight loss journeys with? Or who are you always killing yourself in the gym with? Hey, why don't you reach out to that person, right?
Make sure. That's awesome. I never thought of it too, like when I'm going through this, because I'd always be so excited to get a client, like not to sign on a client, that I wouldn't even think about this, but this is awesome. Like, I've been starting to use it and I always think of Rosie.
Yeah. I mean, it's really true. Like, we're not just stopping with them, because even when we're making a connection, we're asking who they know. So why not when we're doing an Explorer call, kind of the same thing, it's always the same process.
Let them build their own community.
Yep, exactly. Create a coach. So well-being evaluation, really important for them to fill that out. Make sure they have that done, because why? Because when the coaching aspect comes up, then there's an opportunity for you to see when their finances are out of balance, or they're stressed out, or whatever their evaluation is leaning towards. There's an opportunity to bring that up. And that's a great starting point conversation, because some clients aren't going to be as we feel like, some clients aren't going to be as open to the coaching aspect right away. But you know what, honestly, some of the top leaders on here today, some of our global directors on our team, did not want to be a coach multiple times. Do not ask me about it. Do not talk to me about it. I don't have time. I don't want to do it. I just don't want to do the weight loss. But with this over time, this evaluation, obviously we know where to share with them, because it's going to eventually come back to the fact that they need the full trilogy, and it just is what it is. Did you send the new client welcome email for a reference tool? Right. So after doing an Explorer call, if you guys don't know that there's a connections email, and there's also an Explorer call email with the Dr. JC Dornick explaining an overview of the program. You can actually put your well-being link on there if you'd like to, again, and do that stuff. Did you ask them to call you when their box arrives? Right. These are things that you want to make sure we're doing, guys. There's new text messages. I always like to use the text messages that are in in the Coach Answers, Optavia Answers, because that's the most currently updated one. You can use the one that's in Simple Systems, but I feel like that one's not necessarily always updated as fast. So there's messages to be sending people. Your order's been shipped. Your order's on its way. your order's arriving, and then obviously you do the startup. So are you preparing to call them on the day of their program, right? One of the things I can very much tell you guys is don't ever give them too much leeway on when to start, because then sometimes they won't even start. It's very important. If they've made the decision to order the food, then guess what? That's our job at that point to really posture for them to start immediately. Why? Because if they could do it on their own, they wouldn't have reached out to us to begin with. So them wanting to start on their own is just another layer of what maybe not was not so successful for them at the beginning.
All right, so our first goal is to coach them in a strong fat burn. So what that means is, all right. Oh, here we go. All right, doing the night before call. So this is why it's important to know when their box arrives, because we want to get a date or a day that they're going to start so we could schedule a night before call. There's also a really cool night before video, but that is no way in place of this night before call. We still always want to have this call with them as well. You have their health assessment, and they have the Green Optavia start guide. So making sure that they have all their tools and everything ready to be able to start, from their food scale, to almond milk, anything that they're going to need, make sure that we go over it on this night before call so they have all the tools and they're not 4 days in like with nothing. Have their Optavia guide handy 24/7. So make sure to tell them, I always tell them this is their little Bible. I said, this is going to be your Bible for the next few weeks. Keep it close to you. This is your grocery list. This has all the information you're going to need to get through this. It's that simple. Asking them to weigh, measure, take a photo, and send to you. So getting an accurate weight the day that they start, ask them to get up and get on the scale. Let's get that accurate starting weight. Measurements, really important, because we know that inches fall off just as fast as the scale does. So that's going to be an important one. And then the photos. I didn't take very good before pictures, and I always beat myself up for it because now I have to search through Facebook photos and other things to find a good before photo. So I always stress this, and I tell them a full body front, a full body side. Most people will, but for whatever reason, I kind of fought it, and I never wanted to look at those photos again. But make sure to tell them to do that, because that's going to be huge to look back on. The well-being assessment, making sure that we have that as well. And then talk to them daily for the first 4 days. This is not text messaging, you guys. We're going to send them that daily text message in the morning, but we do want to talk to them about 5 minutes that night. This never ends. I know we've, with our clients now, getting to our first couple of clients, but this never ends. Everybody needs our help the first couple of days. Keep it simple, water, measurements, and timing, but also let them tell you what they did. Don't say, hey, did you have your 5 feelings and your 1 lean and green? Okay, great, you're doing awesome. No, let them tell you what they had. I've made a lot of mistakes doing that, just assuming that they're doing it correctly. Always make them, have them lay out their lean and green for you, tell you their ounces, because if they're not keeping track, they're going to get hindered results, and then we're going to have to search at the reason why.
Yeah, this is, if I could hop in here too, this is really important, guys. Text messages, you're not going to know if they're not measuring out their ounces, if they ever got their weigh scale. I can tell you from the beginning, my first 2 days, because I didn't really understand it, we were eyeballing our proteins. And that could be a hindrance for somebody coming in on their first week celebration of, one, they didn't lose as much as they should have, or two, they're still having headaches or tiredness, or they're hungry, and we don't know that. And all of a sudden we get on a call to check in with them, and it's a surprise to us because these text messages have no emotion when you're doing those first 4 days. So it's really important to fine tune those first 4 days, set up a time with them to make sure it's convenient. I've even stayed up till 10:30 at night because somebody was in school and couldn't get off. And you don't have to do that. This is your own business. But for me, it's important, especially if I find value in that person and I really feel like they maybe need this whole as all 3 areas of the program. I want to make sure that they have the best experience they can. And guess what else? If they're up at 10:30 at night, they probably didn't bring enough fuelings with them, especially if it was a last minute idea that they were going to tell you they're going to school. So they would need an extra fueling, right? We wouldn't know that times how many days in a week. So it's just really important to check in on these 4 days, guys. If we could really edify that for a second, that's super huge.
All right. A system on what to expect. So walk your client through their first 4 days. Kind of let them let them know kind of what's going to happen typically and historically, so they have an idea of what's going to happen, what's going on. And then that's really big too for those phone calls those first 4 days, because we're never going to know if we're not calling. Hand feed daily text. All right, this will allow your coaching time to be more personal. So making sure that they get those each morning. And I wanted to add too, I know this was in 0 to 5 a few weeks ago, and I don't know how many people did it, but actually using those daily text messages and putting them in a shortcut on your keyboard. I didn't really know how big of a deal this was until I did it, because going and opening links and copying and pasting these daily texts wasn't a big deal until I did the shortcut. So if you guys have about 10-15 minutes, I would highly recommend to do that, because now all it takes me in the morning is waking up and putting D1, D2, or D3, or whatever day that they're on, and you literally press enter, it all pops up, and you send it off. It's been absolutely beautiful. So if you guys have not done that, I would highly recommend it, because it's really helpful. All right, set up a time for each day's next call. So as you're on the phone with them these couple of days, making sure that the times that you're calling obviously are good for them too, because we don't want to miss these. They're really important. Stay hip to hip with them for the next 4 days. Put reminders in your schedule. I had to do this. I do this every client because I do tend to forget. So every day after they are going to have their lean and green, I make sure to put it in my calendar, so I remember to text them in the morning and call them at night. Then we'll move them to a weekly check-in day celebration call or Zoom. So probably the first few days in, let them know that this celebration is coming. It's going to be super exciting, and try to lock in that day and time with them as soon as you can. I usually do it about day 4, because that's when I'm going to stop calling them. So, but that's just a personal thing. You can kind of do it whenever you see fit. But for me, day 4 seems to kind of work to plan that 1-week celebration. And then let them know that occasionally you'll get to celebrate them and your coach. So this is kind of letting them know 1 month, 2 months, as we start hitting milestones that we're going to be celebrating with them too, just so they know what to expect.
And guys, if I could share real quick too, this is really important to know. It is what it is. This isn't an optional thing. So please, for you guys, really watch your wording on how you approach the celebration Zooms. If you make it iffy, they're going to respond iffy. If you make it kind of is what it is, 90% of the time, they're just going to get on and it's okay. You know, that was something for me at the beginning. Now I really have unless they're technologically inclined like I was, there's really no reason that they won't get on a celebration, and that's really important for the success of them. That's really important for you moving them forward, as possibly if they need to be a coaching partner. This is all correlates. They also, really big thing, guys, I'll tell you on a side note, whatever you visually do with your clients, and this means from point A to point B, from when you ordered the food, from how you talk to them on the call, this is a side note for you guys, but whatever you visually do with them is what they are going to become as a coach. And then when you try to tell them or suggest it later, it's really much a struggle. So these Zoom calls are powerful. If you're not doing celebrations with them, they're not going to be doing celebrations. So that's really, it all correlates together. There's reasons for that. One other side note, at this point, when you're doing this, make sure that you go have them post in the group and share their startup and share their successes. It really kind of puts them outside their comfort zone. It's not about you not being able to celebrate them and they don't want to do it. It's about engaging them in their own journey, bringing them outside of that nervous bubble, and it really starts to help them blossom as a person, because some people in this category, don't really like doing that because it's a very emotional thing for them, or it's a nervousness. But having them post themselves on them starting the program or them first week weigh in, that's really important. Instead of you going and celebrating for them, you're kind of hindering them from moving forward a little bit with that process as well. So those are just some side notes I wanted to throw in there, guys.
Yeah. And one more thing, just to add to that, as you were talking, I was thinking if I have had clients fight back a little bit on the celebration call because they do get a little nervous, this is where a really fun thing that I've learned is using it as a tip call. If they feel weird about the wording celebration call, let them know that it's a tip call. Your coach has been doing this a long time, and this is a chance for them to get tips on how to reach the goal their fastest and making sure that everything is laid out correctly for them too. So using it more as a tip call rather than celebration sometimes feels a little more comfortable for people. So, all right, guys, convention. Who is going? So this year's convention is in St. Louis for convention 2018. So we're already kind of past the early bird rates here. So now we're in this area of regular registration, 225. And then obviously it's going to change as time goes on. So, last year was my first convention, and this was so fun. You guys, it's not really, I don't know what I was thinking when I went there. I had been to other like trade shows for companies and stuff, and this was so much different. So this was a lot of fun, and it's really not to be missed. You get to see how big everything is, and not just, it's just we have our team, and our team is even huge, but when you walk into that room and, we think our team is drinking the Kool-Aid and everybody's kind of crazy, and then you walk into that convention and it's thousands of people who are all drinking this Kool-Aid, and all of a sudden you're like, what? So super fun. Get in while you can.
It's really important, guys. I don't know if you guys kind of understand the process with this, but one of my favorite sayings was, and I can't remember if it was Kim Fisk or Karen Elstrom. If you don't go and you don't hear that one thing that could change your whole mindset, that could then push you into a position to where you could live that amazing life or get around some of those things that you maybe were struggling with. One of the coolest things I love about this is it's not necessarily even the trainings, it's the people, it's the late night talks, it's the after hours debriefings. Kim Fisk with her joking, her potty talks, people debriefing in the bathroom in between trainings and things like that. But the real thing to this is, guys, is it's an investment in you. It's not an added expense. This isn't, man, I got to pay for that. It's going to be so expensive. This is an investment for you. It's also a tax write-off, but it's an investment in you to really understand the big vision of what this is about. Give you a great example. Global directors Michelle and Josh Bomba, they were less than a week into coaching, and did I have a hesitation with really asking them to go to this and kind of in a posturing way say, look, guys, I know things you don't, and my job is to make sure that you guys live the life you want to live, and you need to go to this event. Just like Jamil did it for me in 2013 when I was like, bro, I just quit my job. I'm not making any money, and now you want me to go spend what on an airplane ticket to go where? To Salt Lake City? That event changed my mind. Really showed me that this is not just a weight loss company, really showed me what Dr. A's mission was about, really showed me the community. So if you have coaching partners that are on the fence about this, really work with them, understanding what that is. But not only that, invest yourself in this, because this is a huge event, guys. There's a lot of new things that come out, not a lot of new exciting stuff that happens. But the other thing too is guess what? There may be things you've been telling your coaching partners that you may hear, that they may hear differently, and the same thing for yourselves. I can be very honest with this. Sometimes your mentors will tell you things over and over and over again, and then you'll go there and somebody else will say it in their own version that resonates with you, and that's that one thing that you were missing to set your business on fire. And it doesn't matter if you want a small business or a big business, it makes it fun and freeing for you. That's the key thing, is you don't need to have a Jamil Fraser business if you don't want to, but it's the fun and freeing, the less frustration maybe of things that are going on. It's really important to go to this event, guys. I don't know how much more I can get into that, but really go register now. I already have my room. I have everything except for my plane ticket. I'm waiting for a good time to buy. So week 2 action steps. You guys ready? Take a screenshot of this. Make sure we're doing this. Put together your emails and your connections group. There's also a video that if you don't know where that's at, it's in 0 to 5. Ask your mentors where to find that. It's pretty much right where the same video is that I said. Sorry, I pulled my headphones out. It's right next to where Jamil did the connections video as well with Jen Paxman. So set up your client tracker system. Binders are important. Well-being tracker on all your clients and make sure they're all done full. Discover who is your first and next coach. Guys, for every 5 clients, there is a business partner in there. Whether it is even a struggling client, whether it is a person that isn't even sure that they want to be a coach. If it's somebody that told you no 5 times, like I said, some of the top global directors in our team did not want to be coaches at all. Do not talk to me. Don't do that. So please have a vision, have a path of who that coaching partner is, and make sure that we're on point with that each week, loving on them and layering them. Decide on a day and an hour a week client check-ins. Have this as a rock in your schedule. What I like to do for my first 4-day check-ins, it's very simple to put a time and a repeat on your digital or your phone calendar, and then it'll do it for the whole week, right? It'll do it for the whole year, but at least for the first 4 days, you'll remember. And then after that 4th day check-in, if you don't need to do a 5th day follow-up with them, just in case their days are going a little bit longer, but it repeats it and reminds me that that's what I need to do each day. Put simple systems and daily text messages in your hand location. Also, guys, as Ashley said, yes, it is awesome to have that as an auto thing in your iPhone or your Droid phone as a quick text, but make sure every few weeks, really important to remember this, every few weeks you guys go back and make sure that they haven't updated them. They will be updating them every now and then, especially as we're completely transitioning over to Optavia. If you noticed before, there was videos in some of the links. Now there's not. So they will be continuously updating these things as we get better and better into Optavia. So make sure you guys just keep an eye on that. All right? The next thing, expand your candidates list by 100, guys. It's not that hard. They say we know 600 people by their first name. Somehow, some way. I bet if we sat down, and as your mentors probably did this with you, who's that list of the top 25 that you could think of? And a lot of us probably said, man, I can't even think of 25 people. But by the end of that call, you probably did. So challenge yourselves each day. Take 2-3 minutes on your timer. That's one of the action steps we do in some of our training groups is take 2 to 3 minutes, put a 3-minute timer on your phone and say, who can I think of right now? Even if it's 4 or 5 names, and you do that every day, guess what? By the end of the week, that could be 20, 30 new people, right? By the end of the month, that could be another 100 people. So it's very simple to do micro habits and move these forwards. Continue getting the word out. It's so important, guys. I will be honest with you, a lot of people, and I'm just sharing this to be as most successful as I can with you guys. A lot of us do a Facebook grand opening, and we never go back to our hundreds list. It's all about Facebook. Yes, Facebook is today's new day and age, but guess what? There's coaching partners that I know that have gone 2 years, and they still never went through their 100s list because Facebook was where it was at, and it was working for them. But I will tell you this, Facebook is like being at the beach. If you go that one day and the surf is amazing and you had an amazing surf day, you go back to that beach the next day and the waves aren't that big, guess what your day is going to be? Not a fun day. So really make sure that you guys are getting the word out using the phone call system to do that, and make sure you've exhausted your list 100%, even when you're adding, via the phone first before you go to Facebook. That is so crucial, guys. Once that Facebook launch comes in, everybody seems to check out for their phone numbers because it's just easier. And it is a nervousness. This is real talk. I'm trying to make you guys as successful as I can. That nervousness, we got to get through that. And picking up the phone, the more you don't do it, when it's time to go back to do it, it makes it even worse for you. So just be aware of that. So relationships and networking, get out of your house. Like Ashley said, get out of your house, go create events. I love creating hiking events, dirt biking events, things that are tangible for you guys, that are fun, and you have a reason to do it. If you like mutters, if you like go to have coffee, make it a coffee meetup. Just go have fun with it. Hey, I'm trying this new restaurant. Come hang out with me. Like I said, it doesn't need to be necessarily weight loss or boot camps that you're getting into because now you're a health coach, right? Obviously, we know about Facebook. Posting, posting, posting. That's really important. 5-in-1 posting for every 5 clients, or for every 4 personal posts, or excuse me, for every 5 personal posts, you have 1 health post, right? Why? Because people are getting to know you. Start 5 or more clients. That's really important to do. Support existing clients. That's also very important to do. Don't just get them on, get them through the first 4 days, do their first week check-in, and then it's kind of cruise control and text messages, right? Really important to do, guys. Clean up any messy coaching habits. Like I just mentioned, don't do your first 4-day check-ins, celebrate them their first week, and now it's text messages because you're bringing on more clients. Pick a pace that you need to and go from there. Client story calls, guys. Really important. What did I say? Whatever you visually do with your clients, they're going to do. If they become a coaching partner, they're going to do too. So if you want to have a business where you're cleaning up 10 to 15 coaches that are not doing celebration calls because we didn't do it with them, really important. So let's make sure we're doing at least 2 coach or client story calls a week, which will also help your business move forward because they'll actually open up. That third-party edification is really important for them to be able to see what's possible, and somehow they just open up and share more with your mentor coach at the end. When your first coach starts and comes along, learn from them with each other. Learn as a team, right? So do it for them, do it with them, and then let them do it. So cool. I'm going to exit. Any questions, guys? Let me exit out of here. How was that, guys? Everybody good? Any questions? Kind of started talking a little fast towards the end because I think it's 5 minutes left. We have 5 minutes left. So nobody has any questions?
I do.
Go for it, Jennifer.
All right. So I had a couple of clients here recently that have I've done the explore call with them. It's a not right now for them. That was, last month. This month I'm circling back just to see how they're doing. And, I posed the question, hey, well, if you know anybody that is maybe looking to get healthier, what have you, feel free to pass their information on and, go into that. But 2 people have gotten back to me this month that have said, well, I have tried to spread the word, but the cost is too expensive. How do we respond to that? Because I almost want to say that it's them that thinks that, so that's why they haven't moved forward with the plan. So what's a good way to respond to that if they're not talking to me directly? It's like through Facebook Messenger, just having those conversations.
Okay. What do you think you should do?
In the 2 instances that I had, I kind of pulled it back from, thinking of it as a lump sum and putting it into a daily. If we break it down into a daily thing, it's $14 per day. Mm-hmm. Average American spends more than that on eating out and groceries every month. So, it is daunting to think about in lump sum, but let's just think about for a second. If you continue on the path that you're already spending money on, you're not getting anywhere. You're in your current reality. Mm-hmm. If you shift that to, I'm going to spend this $14 per day on myself, I'm going to get something different that's going to far exceed where I currently am.
Right.
And see where it goes from there. But that's what I've done so far.
Right. Well, that's good. And, that's a great thing. Another thing I would suggest is ask them, well, why are you spreading the word? Are these people interested that you're sharing it with? And usually if they say yes, they were asking me about it, or I just mentioned to them I was doing it, say, hey, I'd love to get on a call with them and kind of see what's possible. There's some ways that we can make this more cost efficient. And have them say, would you mind connecting us in a 3-way, and can we get on together and kind of go back through that? Another thing I would say is, well, do you feel like it's expensive? And ask them, because usually if they think it's expensive, right, it's just like a coach. Coaches are like, why aren't people signing up? The price is too much. The price is too much, right? I love this, and I'm glad this is being recorded because this is awesome. Um, one of my favorite stories is when Jamil decided he wanted to quit coaching, was because people weren't signing up. And he would not let Karen Elstrom on his call to kind of see what was going on. And so finally, after quitting, and then he got that amazing text message from that lady, and he decided to come back, he let Karen Elstrom on his call. And they got off the call, and she goes, "Oh my God, you do such an amazing job of sharing the program, asking them about it. But when you get to the price, you're projecting that you have an issue with the price." And as soon as he realized that, he turned around to go and sign up, I think, like 8 or 10 clients right after that, because he didn't have an issue. So what I would do is I would ask these people, and it's the same idea. I would ask these people, like, well, do you feel like it's expensive? Because usually when they're sharing it to somebody else, that's their situation. You always find what you're thinking, right? Seek and you shall find, whether it's good. He who says he can and he who says he can't are usually both right. So the thing with that is if they're feeling like there's a price issue, they're sharing it that there's a price issue. So I would ask that person particularly and just say, well, do you feel like it's expensive? And they'll probably say, yeah. And then I would go back to their why and say, well, really kind of share with me, like, what's a typical day like for you? How many times a week do you and your husband go out? Or how many times a week do you and your family go out to eat? Right? I had a client that had the husband get on the phone, and they literally said, look, Justin, I'm the man of the house. I know how much we spend on groceries, and there's no way that we can afford this program with 2 of us. We spend $237 on groceries a month. And I said, okay, that's very interesting. Because we're in a situation here where you're asking for help. So I'm a little baffled that you spend that much on groceries and we're having health issues. And he said, yeah, but there's no way we can afford this. Well, I said, okay, so what else do you do? And he's like, well, we go out to eat every now and then, but it's really not that expensive. I came to find out once they got on program, they were going out 4 times a week and every Saturday. And that's why they didn't spend money on groceries, is because they were always eating out, right? So it's always a thought in our head. So I would ask questions. I would ask questions with that person directly. And if you feel like that person's being a little bit of a challenge towards that process, and their mindset isn't understanding what you're trying to share with them, then just say, hey, would you mind getting on a call with us 3? If you have somebody that's interested and you're sharing it with, I'd love to get on and ask your friend, maybe there's something we can do for them. Right? And then that way they can learn to hear it again and hear how their friend responds, because like I said, the way they're sharing it may be their own thoughts of it's expensive, and that's why their friend's thinking the same thing. I hope that was helpful. Cool. All right, guys, it is 9:01. Wow, that's awesome, because I usually talk too much. I did a pretty good job. So good. Thank you so much, Ashley, for partnering with me. I appreciate it.
And really quick, Bonnie, are you still on, Bonnie?
I see her, yes.
Okay, because she put a question in the chat how to do the shortcut. So really quick, you guys, if you have an iPhone, I have an iPhone, so it's the only way I know how to do it. Go to your settings. This is for the shortcuts for anybody who doesn't know how to do it, just really fast. Go to your settings, go to general, go down to your keyboard. This is where you do it, okay? It gives you text replacement, and this is how you do it right here. It's going to ask you what the replacement you want, so D1 through D8 plus the one the package arrives, all that stuff. And then it's going to give you an option to paste below everything you want to drop down from that little shortcut. So it's right here. The iPhone kind of walks you through it. So remember, just settings, general, into your keyboard, and then you'll be able to do those shortcuts. And like Justin said, they might be changing and stuff, so it's really easy to go through there and paste new ones. So just keep an eye on them, but it's been really easy for me, and I absolutely love it. So
go ahead, Monica. You raised your hand. Is she still there? Bonnie, hopefully that was helpful for you. Oh, she just said thank you. Cool. Awesome, Ashley. Thank you so much. Monica, were you raising your hand? Did you have something?
No, you're not.
You're not muted. It won't let you talk unless it's in the English accent. That's probably why. But you're unmuted, sweetie. I don't know how to help you out there. Uh-oh. I'm sorry. Okay, guys. Well, I appreciate you. I appreciate you guys getting on. Hopefully this was helpful. I wanted to share a little bit extra stuff with you guys. You know me. I'm always trying to help you guys move forward a little bit more raw than most people. No panicking, Monica. But hopefully this was helpful. So let's go out. Let's do these action steps. Hopefully you guys took pictures of them. Very simple. Get with your mentors, guys. If I can tell you this as much as possible, bother, talk to, call, text, email your mentor coaches, whatever you need in this business. I will tell you this last part. I drove from Laverne down to Long Beach, California, 2 days a week when I quit my job. Probably couldn't even really afford the gas at the time, but I went down there and literally sat on Jamil's lap and wanted to know exactly what he was doing because I wanted to be as successful as he was. Tuesdays and Thursdays, I was down there driving around in the car with him. We'd be talking about stuff. We'd be going over things. I wasn't that tech savvy, but I made it work. So if you guys are on fire and you need things, bug the crap out of your mentors. I love that my Aunt Joy, she texts me probably 4 or 5 times a day, calls me at least once a day because she wants that. And there's not a problem with that. If we're available to get on the phone with you, you know, some of us are busier than others, but we will get back around to you. If we didn't call you back, call us again. Not a big deal. But go get what you guys want. Let's have a blessed Saturday. Everybody be safe, and hopefully you have good weather wherever you're at. I know for us it's like 90 degrees in California. It's kind of crazy.
It's
Troy,
sunny outside for whatever reason.
drive safe, and take care of them kiddos on that bus, okay? So you guys have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Sorry about that, Monica.